What's up, y'all? John here, lead maintainer of the open source educational platform Latterly.io, which will help you learn to code and land your next programming role. We are working on this pull request, which does a bunch of stuff. It adds table of contents notably to the blog. So currently, if you go to the blog, you'll see a cute pig. You will not see a table of contents. Oh no, but I want table of contents, the audience screamed. Fear not. We have a preview environment. Oh, but I can't show you the preview environment because the build is failing. Okay, so that's the part where we're working on it now. The build is failing. And but once we get it working, I'll show you the table of contents, I promise. Okay, so let's go work on this. Here we are. I got a localhost, don't I? I think I can show you on localhost. Yay, table of contents. And you can see it on another article, like, whoa. Manual regression testing for the win, eh? Hash 3sum is not a valid selector. Okay. Interesting. What about this one? I guess I need to click through all of them now. Golly golly. Maybe it's unique to the LeetCode one because it has funny names in there. The LeetCode Kata is good. It's the LeetCode solutions that failed. Nope, they also got this one. Okay. Cool, so we got a couple test cases. Let's do this before we get the build fix. Let's get the stuff working and do the build fix last. Because we might see shuffle on that. We might fix the build, then fix the code issue and have to fix the build again. So let's consolidate that way. Okay. Vibe fixing. Vibe-based bug remediation. Control P, we're on the page test right now, so I wrote the unit test. We'll have to add the hard case, this hard case to the unit test as well. So the markdown file is going to be the Aria's tail markdown file. So this one. So I'll send this over to Cursor and let's see if we can fix one at a time. Consider this Aria's tail. I have an apostrophe, right? Aria's tail blog article. It generates yeah. I'll just put the error message literal. Because it begins with a number is the issue, yeah? Got it. Rendering attempt yields I have the triple backticks and then I Control Shift V to paste the literal text. If you don't hit that Shift button, Cursor will paste a reference to the terminal sometimes, which is not what I want. So I'm already anticipating what I think Cursor should do, right? I'm not just letting it go off unhinged. I'm anticipating that it needs to correct for the beginning with an integer. And we see I'm using Claude 3.7 Sonnet here. Welcome in, chat. Unstable frame rate on LinkedIn. Sorry, LinkedIn. So I'm anticipating, and it says a CSS ID selector cannot start with a number. Boom. That's what I expect. Okay, let me collapse some of these source control, irrelevant source control, leave open the relevant one. So this is a multi-root setup, okay? So it's taking an escaping approach. That's fine. I might have thought to just skip the number. It's gonna take an escaping approach. I'm happy either way. So I come over to, and now this looks good. What did it render to? Let's check that out. It just skipped it, right? Am I tripping? Oh no, it was the 8, okay. So the link still works. The anchor is maintained. And it still renders the literal. So the escaping preserved the syntax. That's cool. And same with 3sum. 3sum is it's a happy dude over here. Cursor, I love you. Give me a hug, Cursor. So I'm going to stage this, and I'm going to say blog post content. Where's my test file? I have the parallel structure approach. Blog slug, blog post content, blog slug. Ooh, there's no unit test on this file. Well, there's your sign. Drop a dub in the chat if you got the reference. Probably no one got that reference. Okay. Blog post content dot test dot tsx. Let's add a unit test file to check this case and otherwise cover the blog post content file. So I gave it a reference to the empty file to anchor it so that it doesn't go off and try and put it in some other location. So here's the file, fill this one in. So I should see content painted here. And I just want to get it to a passing state, lock it in, and then we'll hopefully be able to transition seamlessly over to the build issues. This is the important, boring part of programming. A lot of other curriculum will teach you how to code and they'll skip the important, boring basics, including unit testing, types, documentation, build fixes, regression fixes. So this is some of the stuff that you're going to get when you hang out with the Latterly crowd. You can sign up for free, latterly.io, join the Discord. We'll love to see you there. So Claude implemented some tests. Here we go, as expected. But it detected lint issues. So it's continuing to chain of thought its own. And looks good. Let's run the test and make sure it passes. Oh, failure. So I'm going to just grab all of this. We got 4 failures. I wanted to see the context where it said 4 failures. Again, Control-Shift-V instead of Control-V. Let me show the alternative. Control-V, you see it pasted this line reference. Actually, that might be fine in this case. But if I try to hit enter, it doesn't work. Oh, it did work. Okay. Cursor's getting updated like weekly, so sometimes something that was a pain point a week or two ago just is solved now. Shout out to the Cursor team. I actually interviewed, do I want to talk about this? A while ago, so I was on the job search last year. I actually applied to Cursor, and I failed miserably. That was on me. That was my fault. But shout out to the team. They're great. Now we have even more failures. Awesome. Yak shaving. Anybody in the chat heard of yak shaving? So we're going to give this a 3 strikes approach. I don't want to just continue to snowball if Cursor is getting confused. I'll give it a 3 strikes approach and then I'll dig in myself. Latterly search techniques is a prioritized list of 7 search techniques, and so you go through them one by one. In 2025 and beyond, I recommend an AI first approach. So we start with the language model, whether we're doing a search for reference like a Google lookup. In the old days, 3 years ago, I would have to Google search. How gross is that? Now I just ask a language model, so much more convenient. I don't have to pick through the files. I don't have to. Have you ever actually gone to like the 3rd page in the Google results? It's brutal, man. It's just full of garbage. Okay, so we're seeing incremental progress. That'll reset my 3 rule. Anyway, the point is that if I saw 3 strikes, and I also want a time box to 5 or 15 minutes, but if you see incremental progress, you're free to reset the counter, as it were. And if AI fails, first I would switch to using a different language model, probably a reasoning model, maybe a 2.5, Gemini 2.5 reasoning. But then at some point you bail out of the language models. If there's a general problem across language models, I might want to step line by line through the code, like it was a leak code problem, mental debugger sort of thing. All right, we'll give it one more try and then I'll go through the code on my own. And then there's other stuff you can do. So you look through the code, right? Then maybe I do want to go to Google. Look for the error literal. Try and find the official documentation. Official documentation is another technique. Reference code, that's another technique. Well, it worked over there. Why doesn't it work here? You can diff them. That'll help you pinpoint the root cause. elimination-based debugging, stubbing, there's a whole bunch of others. And it looks like we got a pass. That's great. So you can keep this article handy. Debugging tips. 7 core search techniques. So these are they. AI first, reference code, Googling, guess and check, official third, right? So these are, and then eventually social escalation and consultation. At the 7th circle of hell, you actually have to go post a Stack Overflow question. Which is a bummer, because you may get an answer, but it might take a week before anyone answers it, which is kind of a bummer. Very often we get to avoid that by prioritizing the list. Okay, so now it looks like we're passing. Let me run the full suite rather than the incremental suite. Everyone's happy. Let me stop my server. Okay, so at this point I'll go ahead and commit. And this is a feature. Conventional commit here. And I'll just name it off of this escape selector. This is the main innovation under reference, innovation under commit. We'll push that. Now I'm going to npm run build. So we're on to the build fixes now. Under 10 minutes. I got a good feeling about this, chat. Okay, we want to discriminate between the warnings and the errors. I don't really care about the warnings. If we can fix them, great, but it's not urgent. Here's an easy one. Switching to the size shorthand. So I'll look for H-4. So this is just a warning. It's saying, hey, you can swap 2 classes for 1. Great. And now I'll look for the H-2. Swap that out for a size. Okay, so we eliminate a couple warnings. The unsafe assignment of any is a little more complex. I'll skip those. There's a bunch of these. Feel free to pull requests laterally. Contributions welcome. You can add test coverage. You can fix these warnings. I'll high five you. Let's go for, since we're on a roll, swapping these out. Let's see if cursor super tab can figure out what we're doing. Okay, boom. Got the super tab there. What about an H-2? Okay. Nope. Cursor, okay. Now it's starting to pick it up. Now it's starting to pick it up. Cool, so we got a bunch of those. Oh, here's another one. These are Tailwind nits, by the way. So placeholder gray 500 should follow this new syntax because the new Tailwind does things in the new way. Don't you want that new? Don't be old. We're in tech, we hate old stuff, right? Tech is so anti-old, it's a bummer. It's actually a real tragedy, not gonna lie. Okay, so we're gonna replace this with this new syntax. And I lost my location, D-A-R-K, colon, placeholder. Okay, this is the one, boom. And you can see the difference there. We have that extra colon addenda. Save that. That's all I'm going to do for now. So this is fix, Tailwind warnings. But I want to turn and actually fix the errors. So where are the errors? We got some over here. Okay, we'll close the other tabs so we can focus on this file. And control-click 162.9, that didn't help, but I'm looking for row. I have the line numbers on here. We're looking for 162, column 9, so this is the row. And the error advises us to prefer using an optional chain expression as it's more concise and easier to read. Let's go for it. So I'll use the chain expression. And in this way, I can avoid the first short-circuiting condition with no loss of generality, so I hope. Okay, in this case, we have an unsafe call of an any type value. You see there's a difference between unsafe assignment and unsafe call. Unsafe assignment is going to be a warning, but the unsafe call is an error. Like, the unsafe warnings mean that your type inference might be messed up, but the unsafe call means that your actual logic could be messed up. So, similar output from the linter, pretty big difference in criticality. Okay, Okay, so this is going to be 180, yeah? So we're dropping down to this expression over here. And so the atters is the I'm going to let cursor fix this one, but the atters is untyped here. I'm going to just reference the whole function. I'll drag the file into context and I will say type function add IDs to headings, and I put it in the backtick so that cursor knows I'm talking about a code literal. And this will knock out 2 errors. So I'll say type that to resolve. Boom. Come on, Claude. Don't fail me now. And I already have an expectation of what it's doing. I want it to type atters. Now here it's not done what I want. It simply made a type assertion. And I'm going to say, can't you type it? Atters and other args in the method signature. So I want it to raise this as string up to type it at this level. Notice that I already knew the answer to the question was yes. I don't know, maybe I didn't need to do that, but my intuition says, and I don't have strong data to back this up, but my intuition says that by using questions, certainly it's true with humans, by using questions, they intrinsically, endogenously come up with a solution and they're pre-bought in. And so my intuition says that this carries over to language models, where if I can have the language model tell me the answer and the reason, I think it's more reinforcing to the instruction. That's the intuition behind why I use questions sometimes. You can also just guess and check, nothing wrong with that. You can try giving it the instruction literal. If that fails, reform to a question form. Little prompt engineering pro tip for you vibe coders out there. So I'll stage this and we will run the build again. Okay, and I'm particularly concerned with getBlogPost.ts. We'll do one file at a time here. So here's the getBlogPost.ts. And on line 244, the assertion is unnecessary. 244. Here we are. As string is unnecessary because content already has a type. Okay, so I'll just get rid of that assertion. I'm going to control click to look at the origin. Yeah, it's coming out typed. And that's better, right? We have more concise code with no loss of type efficacy. So 244 is cleaned up. We got 249. I think this will be the last one in the file. I wish the control click would work. I don't know why that's not working. So as string over here, 249, use a bang assertion to more succinctly remove null and undefined from the type. So I'll just go like this. Oop. Bang character. Nope, it's not happy about that. If I chain it, still not happy. Now it's happier. What's it mad now? A colon is expected. Let's see. I am not sure why a colon is expected. But the coalescing operator will do the job. We can do this. One hangup I have here, if it's a undefined text, why am I sending it to the processor? I could just throw at this point. I could just throw at this point because I should never have an undefined text actually. This is the first paragraph. Okay. I'm going to do that. This is a screen pattern, so we'll solve the build issue either way, but I would like to be like eagerly informed if it is empty. So I'm going to actually throw in that case. Okay? And that would intentionally fail the build. If someone tries to submit a markdown file and it gets into CI, and it's like it's like unparsed, or its rendering is empty, or it's actually empty, none of those should ever be built. And the build succeeded this time. Notice that we're importing FS, so when I say that the blog should never be built, this is actually a server-side process, so this is occurring before render time. This is not client-side logic. That's another reason this approach is safer. I wouldn't really want a loud screaming error in a user experience. But this is intended to be a gate that prevents the user from seeing a blank page. Let me run the tests again, npm run test. Cool. All right, so our little change there didn't break any tests. So this is a fix. This is actually a feature. And I'll say scream if no excerpt. I'll say scream if no first paragraph. Those are equivalent, but maybe one is clearer. If you send me a blog article that doesn't even have a first paragraph, I'm going to scream. So let's go see what's happening on the pull request side of things. Here we are in GitHub. Okay, the pull request is ready for review. So this will take about 1 more minute. While that's going on, I will look through some of the interesting blog cases. Oh yeah, I need to run my dev server. Cool. Okay, so one interesting case is with the hero image up top. Looks good to me. Actually, there's a deficit of margin here. So that would be something I can improve. I'll search by class name. It seems relatively unique. Yeah. And so here I'd like to give it some bottom margin. So I'll say MB-4. Looks good to me. It is not appended. Let's empty cache and hard reload. Yeah, it's not getting appended. Oh, because there are... Did I do the wrong one? That's weird, right? Are there 2 code locations? Yeah, there's 2. So what are the 2 here? This is a hero image in the preview content, and this is a hero image in the, not the preview content, the standard blog. Okay, yeah, it makes sense to do them both. And they should have the same alt. Yeah, we can actually extract this component. Let's make a hero image. Okay. I will include this in the same file because it's concerned with the page. So I want to make sure that the class name is equivalent to my other case. It is. We got the alt, we got the source, it's all looking the same. If it's not there, we return null. That's exactly what I want to see. And so now, I don't need to repeat myself. All right, it's a little more concise, looks good. Not only is it more concise, whenever I update the one, the other is updated for free. And I'm noticing that the table of contents is always adjacent, so I'm going to actually fold that in. Let's see. I like the return null here. Maybe I shouldn't fold it in. I'll leave them decoupled for now. Cool, looks good to me. Let's run our test and build one more time with this new stuff. Tests are still happy. The build is mad because the dev server is running. All right, no problem. King Slap, what up? Welcome in on YouTube. Thanks for being here. How are things going for you? All right, build is happy. And so this is a feature. This is a hero image, and I have this nowhere else defined in the code base, right? That's fine. This is the source data that will ultimately be rendered here. I think the capital case showing us it's a component versus the camel case showing it's a data element, I think that's fine to disambiguate. We could call it like hero image component. I don't care. I don't care that much. Spin back up the dev server. We're going to step through manually again. The previous build was happy, so I expect this next one to work, but we will let the compiler tell us. That initial dev server load is a little bit slower, no problem. And now I've got the margin that I want. So that looks good. Okay, so this directory page looks good. That was one of the hard cases. Here's like a standard simple case. Looks good to me. This is an interesting case because we have this laterally premium content thing here. Sign up button works as expected. Looks good. We saw that the LeetCode solutions was another hard case because of the three-sum table of contents item. Seems to work. Would be good to get some syntax highlighting in there, but that's okay. That would be an enhancement, not like a regression. And so I think these work well. Now let's try logging in. And we'll go back to one of the premium articles now that we're logged in. I should be able to view it. Render's fine as far as I can tell. And the links work. What a great PR. Ship it. All right, friends, and that concludes fixing the build. Thanks so much for being here.